Hello. It is once again my honor to present the Town Administrator's budget message for fiscal year 2023. The budget that I present to you is balanced, responsible, manageable, and ready for the Finance Committee to review. Walpole, along with the rest of the country, continues to address a wide range of challenges across all departments, from the pandemic placing stresses on our municipal resources to heightened demand for quality of life services from residents and stakeholders. We continue to meet our commitment to balance fiscal responsibility while meeting Walpole's priorities for public safety, quality schools, essential services, sound infrastructure, and enriching community programs. The budget that is being presented today allows continuous growth in a positive direction. I would be remiss if I did not briefly reflect on the current fiscal year. It seems remarkable that fiscal year 22 is now more than halfway over. Perhaps the perceived speed for which our year is passing has much to do with the major events that have occurred these past 7 months. Since last July, those events include the passing of a $150 million debt exclusion for a new middle school, the formulation of a $13 million capital budget, the hiring of a new police chief, water superintendent, and building commissioner, conversion of the town's streetlights to LED, and the construction of the South Walpole Community Athletic Complex on Route 1A. Our current fiscal year budget is on track. All municipal accounts and revenue sources appear to be sound at this time. The Select Board, Finance Committee, School Committee, and other town officials will have extensive public discussions regarding the fiscal year 23 budget throughout the next few weeks and months during their budget deliberations. The message I offer you today is one of confidence. The town's financial management is strong, and the budget invests in quality municipal services that will allow us to continue to grow on our previous success. Prior to providing an overview of the revenue and expenditures, I'd like to highlight some of the projects ongoing in Walpole. Walpole continues to experience ongoing growth in both the municipal and private sector. Over the last 7+ years, the town has undertaken municipal construction projects that have allowed the town to address the town's aging infrastructure, including the Center Fire Station, Police Station, Council on Aging, Vehicle Maintenance Garage, as well as the Athletic Field Complex on Route 1A and the town's streetlights. This time has come to address Walpole's aging infrastructure needs on the school side. This past fall, residents passed an override that will allow the town to move forward with construction of a new middle school. The new facility will be located at the present Bird School site. I would like to recognize and thank members of the Select Board, School Committee, School Building Committee, and all those who have been instrumental over the years in getting this project to where it is now. Construction on the new building is set to begin in 2023, and it is slated to open in 2024. Some of the major commercial and residential projects that are ongoing are listed on the screen. The Building Department and Community Development Department remain busy assisting with development in Walpole. The Building Department issued 2,000 building permits in 2021 compared to 1,700 building permits in 2020. The economy in Walpole is strong. The proposed fiscal year 23 budget that I present to you today totals $108.5 million. This budget does not include proposed override funding, use of reserves, or one-time revenues in the balancing process. The budget that has been balanced using all available revenues known to us at this time. The primary source of revenue for Walpole is the property tax levy. The total amount anticipated to be raised from the property tax levy for FY23 is $88.2 million. In addition to the funds derived from Proposition 2.5, local receipts make up just about $7.9 million of the fiscal 23 budget. Some of the major contributing factors in the total receipts line include motor vehicle excise tax at $4 million, which has been increased by $100,000 from FY22. License and permit fees are budgeted at $1.1 million, which is a $180,000 increase from FY22. Meals and hotel tax projections have been modestly increased from FY22 levels. Just last week, Governor Baker filed his budget proposal for fiscal year 2023. Governor Baker's recommendations have increased modestly for Walpole over FY22. The budget that is being presented for fiscal 23 includes moderate increases to some of our various town departments. The amount requested for appropriation for fiscal 23 is $108.5 million. Areas on the expense side of the budget that I would like to call your attention to include Walpole's Department of Public Works, which continues to actively manage and perform critical community service operations such as road, sidewalk, athletic field, and common grounds maintenance, snow and ice control. And the department is also managing bridge and dam inspections as well as water, sewer, and stormwater management infrastructure in town. Director Mattson and his skilled team of superintendents and department heads staff continue to be innovative in their approach they take when it comes to projects here in Walpole. Many projects that would typically be contracted out are now performed in-house by staff. Some of these include the construction of a new basketball court at the South Walpole Community Athletic Complex, fertilization and aeration of the fields, rehab and treatment of the plant filters at Delaney Treatment Plant, and the installation of new sidewalks in some areas of town. Walpole police and fire personnel continue to serve on the front lines. I'm grateful for their professionalism and adaptability. Our firefighters and police officers continue to support our community by responding to emergency situations with integrity every day. They've cultivated partnerships with other agencies and strengthened our community's readiness and resilience. The Select Board has focused on providing each department with the staffing and resources to keep our community safe. Walpole Fire finished 21 with 8,030 calls for service, of which 4,200 were emergency responses. This represents an 18.5% increase from the previous year and a 49% increase in emergency calls since 2012. The fire department budget will increase by $281,000. Last year at this time we had 44 total firefighters funded as part of the fiscal year 2022 budget. I am pleased to report that the fiscal 23 budget fully funds 47 firefighters. This will allow Chief Bailey to staff 4 shifts of 11 firefighters on each shift. The fire department recently made the necessary arrangements to move forward with ordering 2 new fire engines, thanks in part to the efforts of Chief Bailey and Deputy Barry, who successfully applied for a grant to replace the town's 1985 fire engine. On the police side, the Select Board moved forward with finding Chief Carmichael's replacement. After a thorough search, the board voted to appoint Richard Kelleher as the 15th police chief here in Walpole. The Walpole Police Department budget will increase by $430,000. I am pleased to report that the recommended budget fully funds 1 new police officer position, which will bring the total number of sworn officers to 48. I commend the dispatchers, police officers, and firefighters for their daily efforts in protection of Walpole. We are fortunate to have dedicated public safety personnel that continue to do an excellent job keeping Walpole safe. Public education continues to be one of Walpole's top priorities. This year, the total public education line is recommended to be just about $53 million. The Norfolk County Agricultural High School has advised that county administrators are considering significantly raising the cost assessed for each student at the school. As such, the budget that is presented includes a 166% increase from fiscal year 22 to fiscal year 23. Tri-County officials have advised Walpole that we will likely see a substantial increase in our assessment. As such, I have budgeted an 8% increase over fiscal year 23. The recommended budget for Walpole Public Schools stands at almost $51.4 million, which represents a 4.64% increase over FY22. I continue to be mindful of the increasing demands that all of the educational budgets have requested for fiscal year 23. My concerns are focused primarily on sustainability of continuing to grow the education budget year in and year out at such a large scale. I encourage school officials to begin to develop a long-range plan that does not include substantial increases each year. The proposed fiscal year 23 debt budget provides for payment of principal and interest costs for long and short-term bonds issued by the town for general fund purposes. Walpole currently has a AA+ rating. The fiscal year 2023 debt budget is $6.5 million, which is approximately $2.4 million higher than it was in fiscal year 22, which is due primarily to the debt exclusion vote for the new middle school that was approved by the Walpole voters in November of 2021. Our debt level is moderate and manageable. We continue to work with Hilltop Securities, our financial advisor, to ensure that the town is capitalizing on the market when it comes to interest rates and borrowing. The town has recently been able to realize significant savings for our taxpayers when the Select Board took immediate action after the override vote to authorize a $54 million borrowing, enabling the town to take advantage of favorable interest rates. The Select Board's foresight has allowed the town to be in a strong borrowing position in the future. The assessments and fringe benefits portion of the budget, which consists of other post-employment benefits, our retirement assessment, unemployment, and the insurance budget, is budgeted at a 12% increase at this time. The budgeted OPEB contribution is $500,000 in FY23. This recommendation maintains our commitment to funding the town's OPEB liability. Since 2014, the town has increased the OPEB account from $1 million to $7.6 million. We continue to add to our financial reserves and maintain a solid AA+ bond rating for the town. The resources in the reserves include free cash, the stabilization fund, the town's unassigned fund balance, and the fiscal year 2023 budget maintains a $463,000 amount in the reserve fund. Free cash was certified at $9 million. The town meeting appropriated $8.5 million for a variety of items from free cash. Since 2014, the town stabilization fund has grown from $1.8 million to $9.77 million. At the fall 2021 town meeting, the town reestablished a capital stabilization account, which currently has a balance of $1,040,000. Throughout my tenure as town administrator, I've been proud of the work that the Select Board and the Finance Committee have done to add to the reserves. These reserves provide much-needed flexibility as we go out to borrow for some of the larger capital projects, and if ever necessary, and the day comes where the town needs to access these reserves in order to bridge potential budget shortfalls, the identified reserves will continue to allow us to preserve Walpole's long-term financial stability. The capital budget request last fall exceeded $14.9 million, and town meeting voted to fund more than 13.1 of those requests. I commend the Capital Budget Committee for their efforts overseeing the capital budget requests in the town's long-term capital planning process. The water and sewer enterprise funds are self-supporting accounts. The water and sewer budgets next fiscal year show a combined total of $11.6 million. The fiscal 2023 Water Enterprise Fund is recommended at just about $6 million, and the current retained earnings balance in that fund is $1.6 million. The recommended sewer enterprise budget is $5.5 million, and the current retained earnings balance is $735,000. The Sewer and Water Commissioners have yet to set the fiscal 23 water and sewer rates. In the past, the commissioners have used retained earnings to keep the water and sewer rates artificially low. I'm concerned if this practice continues, the sewer and water budgets may be negatively impacted. I urge the Select Board and the Finance Committee to work with the commissioners throughout fiscal year 23 in their rate setting process to ensure that a responsible rate is set that does not continue to use one-time enterprise funds to balance the budgets. At this time, there are currently 18 articles that are set to be considered at the spring town meeting. A detailed description of the proposed articles will be available on the town's website after the Select Board signs and publishes the warrant. In conclusion, I leave you with this. The global pandemic has forever changed the way of life here in Walpole and our way of doing business. As a town, we have led with resilience, steadfast in our commitment to fiscal responsibility and transparency to our citizens. Walpole is an incredible community. The proposed budget represents a strong commitment to the people I am fortunate enough to serve. This budget was built with an eye to the future. I am proud of our leadership team, which consists of the Select Board, Finance Committee, School Committee, and non-elected town officials who have worked hard to make the decisions that will benefit our community's future. Thank you for taking the time to watch this message. Have a good evening.